Form SN 451B. Discontinued prior editions. The trouble with nameplates. Okay, chapter 2. The first thing to greet you on entering the DSSS building is the scent of something burning. Apparently it's made me sneeze as well. Paper, plastic, and a whiff of ink. Yes, that must be ink. The department receptionist looked down at you from where she's standing on the desk, having just turned off the fire alarm. How's the situation? Anything on fire? Not yet, you say. Werewolves and vampires don't usually go for pyrotechnics, unlike the feistier brand of wizards. Did the copier jam again? Are you asking, did the intern set the copier on fire again? Because if so, the answer is yes. The receptionist sits back down at the desk and slides a stack of forms over to you. We need to start asking what kind of magic wizards specialise in before accepting them as interns. You feel like it's easier to replace printers than deal with the complaints of official wizard representative of the city would lodge if you ask those kind of questions on internship applications. But then, you're required to deal with Miss Sullivan almost as often as the receptionist. Currently, also assistant IT for the department is required to unjam printers. You've never heard the receptionist's name from anyone in the building. The dominant theory amongst your co-workers is that she sold her name to the Unseelie Court in exchange for the power to handle everything the job requires of her. But some people have also claimed that she lost her name through an ancestral curse or a paperwork mishap. The latter seems more likely given the relevant frequency of ancestral curses versus paperwork mishaps in this place. Fortunately, everyone knows who's referred to as the receptionist rather than the night receptionist or the intern is covering the phones again, please stop him, or Mrs. Howard. Don't worry, you tell her. Right, we'll just order a replacement. It's fine, it's fine. The receptionist sighs. It's not your problem anyway, she says, as you pick up the latest stack of papers. Oh, but check the board, the boss posted a new memo. You leave the nearly empty waiting room on weekends. The department will only accept emergencies and appointments, so the usual walking complainers aren't around, and swing past the department bulletin board just outside the cubicles that most department employees work in. The place has that eerie silence that magnifies every desk, chair squeak or coffee mug sip from co-workers coming in on the weekend to get a little bit more work done. The memo you've been warned about has been scratched out in deep runes on the charred sheet of wood. The head of department is an astral bear and uses somewhat archaic communication techniques. Okay, we don't use post-it notes apparently, we just scratch directly into some wood. It's possible your boss is the only astral bear. You've never heard of another one existing. She spends a great deal of time communing with starlight and takes days off around solstice and equinox for something involving, as she puts it, the continued existence of the universe. That might be a religious ritual or a literal statement about her job role in the cosmos. You're not sure which. It hasn't seemed wise to ask. Fair enough. Thank gods you are here, says a co-worker, popping out of the cubicle farm like a meerkat on alert. Do you know what that says? I asked Vanya, but they just told me to check a dictionary. You look over the memo closely. I've been seeing this phrase in okay. Using a dictionary is a good idea, I'll do that. I could ask someone who knows runes better. I'm just going to go, I've seen this phrasing in official memos before. It uses standard phrasing. After you've seen the same layout a few dozen times, you don't need to look up the exact words anymore. You puzzle it over for a few moments with that in mind. And then tap a section near the bottom. It's a request to copy the archives of our filing reports weekly or monthly. I think weekly. We'll probably be asked about it on Monday at the meeting. Oh hell, says your co-worker. I'm a month behind. I'd better get that done now. Thanks. Don't know what I'd do without you. Happy to help, you say graciously, though really, if people paid attention to the details, you wouldn't have to. Your own office awaits. As one of the two senior mediators of the department, you actually get 4 walls and a locking door. Not a window, as the entire DSSS is located in a series of basements beneath the city tax offices, but still, a door. You should probably get down to paperwork as soon as you set up in there for the afternoon, or it'll all be waiting for you tomorrow morning. You could procrastinate a little beforehand. What? I can't get a mug of motor oil. Why? Okay, so I can get coffee, but I can't get motor oil. I assume because I don't need it. Scold the intern, chat, visit the archive, check my mailbox. I'm just going to start on the paperwork. Dude, it's a Sunday. Let's just, like we said, let's just get it done, bro. I don't need a coffee anyway. It's fine. I got Frosties here. I got Frosties. I'm good. The shiny brass nameplate for your office arrived just this Friday. The first version had to be sent back for correction errors. As you unlock the door to your office, you take a quick look at the nameplate to make sure that it has everything right this time. Form of address, name, official title, you usually go by Mr. And they've spelled your first name right this time. Oh, I'm going to enter my own name. My first name is Adam, because that is my first name. I'm going to call myself Adam Steele. That sounds like a cool name. Adam Steele. You're going to need to send the nameplate back again. Oh, the mediator spelled wrong. Or live with the fact that your co-worker is calling you Mr. Mediator in meetings next month. I'll correct it myself. That's fine. I'll figure it out. You grab a marker and black out the extra O. Close enough. Yep. That sounds like something I would do. I can't be asked to send it back again. So I'll just bodge it and fix it for the time being. Your office is small, but it has 4 solid walls and a door that closes. You can even play your own music in here without headphones on, if you don't turn it up too high. Well, we don't want to disturb everybody else, but we want to take advantage of the extra privacy we've got, right? Being a senior mediator has its perks. By and large, you can set your own hours if you show up to mandatory meetings. Take your time with your job responsibilities, assume they actually ever get done, and well, slack off a bit here when no one can see it. That's the dream job, isn't it? Not everyone takes promotion as an excuse to relax, like your coworker next door who has been working even longer hours since their promotion. The stack of paperwork you've been carrying through the office goes on your desk and you sit down at last. The tire iron you brought along to the morning's mediation session, such as it is, has been on you all this time. You take out the tire iron and consider what to do with it. Keeping some kind of basic weapon-like object on you is a good idea, especially if there's a plausible deniability attached to its weapon nature. The department frowns strongly on carrying guns. That's for police, not DSSS agents. And a lot of things like mace and tasers just don't work on some of the people you deal with. Or a large, heavy flashlight. You put the tire iron aside to return to your car and pick up the flashlight that usually lives in your office. It weighs a ton and hits like a hammer, but it has the best excuse of all as a non-weapon item to carry around. Flashlights are practical for sniffing out secrets and that. That's what I figured. I figured a crowbar. That looks dodgy, like you're going to burgle someone or attack somebody. Tire iron, if you're not near the car, they're like, well, you weren't going to use that. Flashlight, that works. It's a pity that it doesn't fit well into what you usually wear. The dress code in the employee handbook doesn't apply to someone at your level. Instead, you can pick how to present yourself. You can pick how to present yourself to the supernatural community at large to convey a particular attitude on your part and get a particular reaction from them in turn. I'm gonna dress casually. I don't want to wear a suit. Seems too formal. I don't want people to think I'm above them. I just want to, we're all friends here kind of situation. You wear comfortable clothing, high in quality, but nothing too fancy or flash. As a mediator, you're there to help people, whether or not they recognize this on first glance. They should feel comfortable around you, not as if they're being judged from on high. Exactly my point. Most importantly, it's what makes you feel ready for work. You sort through the paperwork, new and old, that you'd like to get through for a clean desk on Monday morning. There's a bit more than you remember leaving here, even accounting for what generated by the intersection incident. Someone must have snuck a few more forms into your inbox over the weekend. All told, it's not that much to do. You should be able to knock it out in an hour, 2 tops. You're reaching for a pen when a knock comes on the door. I guess we'll call them in. It could be important. I'm not going to ignore them. Come in, you say, and brace for another co-worker with another problem for you to solve. In theory, you're a mediator for people outside the office, not inside. In practice, well, people do seem to expect that you can solve every problem that comes your way. The door swings open and Vanya Fork saunters in. They're a snake person. Literally a snake person? Or are they just a bit snaky? They're a snake person, as are so many bureaucrats that particular species tends to be passionate about civic engagement. At the moment, Vanya's in their human form, tall and angular like most of their species, with a shock of black hair and sharp black eyes to match. Being a giant winged snake might come more naturally to the snake people, but the lack of hands mean that form's not great for answering emails. That makes sense. Working late still, they say, or hardly working. That's not how the saying goes. I meant it literally. Not working late indicates a lack of commitment to the job. They cross their arms and frown at you. I heard about what happened this morning. I took care of it properly. That's fine. It's been resolved, you say blandly. The intersection has been cleared, everyone stood down, and they'll be coming in tomorrow to file their complaints properly. I'd call that a good day's work done. Vanya shoves their hands in their pockets and leans over your desk. The problem, they say, is that we're supposed to stop these problems before they're stopping traffic. You're on call today. You should have been more proactive. How am I supposed to stop something before it's happened? What is this, Minority Report? It's an absurd complaint. How are you supposed to predict a sudden shift in ley lines when the people affected by it couldn't? But then Vanya has a strange grudge against you since the two of you were both hired as junior mediators out of the same applicant pool. An unreasonable grudge at that. They've said since your first day of work that a mundane human has no business in the DSSS. Emphasis on the second S, supernatural. With the number of humans in every other branch of the government, local and national, why should you be given a position in the one department set aside explicitly for people who aren't purely human? And how can anyone expect a human to keep up with the demands of a job that involves physical threats from creatures with 10 times your strength, resilience and speed? Wouldn't it be safer all around to keep the delicate little human confined to desk work? Privately, you've always suspected that Vanya's jealousy of your ability to keep up with them at each rank of promotion and latched onto your species to excuse the feeling. Be that as it may, you begin. If you can't handle the work, Vanya says, you should pass it off to someone who can. It's racism. Speciesism, I guess, because I'm a human. I'm not supposed to be here. Because I could work anywhere, but this is for supernatural people. Look, I'm good at my job, let me do it. Defend my work ethic, tell them to go away. I'll just tell them to go away. I've got shit to do. You sigh and blink back, an incipient headache. Bug off, Vanya, I have work to do, and you're the one keeping it from being finished. Vanya taps a stack of papers on your desk. Yes, I see how much work you're getting done. Look at all these completed forms. Such diligence. I'm hearing, oh Adam, I want to do all your paperwork for you and free you up for more important things. That's what you've interrupted me to say, right? Look, whatever Vanya was about to call you, is cut off by the door opening. A man you've seen somewhere before pokes his head in and smiles brilliantly. Hello, I'm not interrupting, am I? Reception said that this was where I could find an agent on the scene from this morning's turf war. Clearly, Vanya says. You're not interrupting anything. With one more scornful glance at you and your desk, they sweep out of the room. The man steps up to the desk and offers you a handshake. Eric Xanthopoulos. I'm amazed I read that so well. Reporter for the Herald. I have a few questions about the incident this morning. I'm not talking about this with a reporter. We've not even got to the bottom of it, so it feels wrong. I have no comment to make, Mr. Xanthopoulos. Mr. Xanthopoulos. I'm going with that. I don't know if it's right. You say. Department policy, you understand. His eyebrows go up rather melodramatically. Really? Vampires and werewolves come into blows in public, blocking traffic, spraying infectious blood across public areas, and you have no comment to make? Can I quote you on that? Settle the matter with more paperwork? Be blunt about his hyperbole? I'm gonna be blunt, I guess. You're exaggerating the details, you say. Very little blood, very little damage, very little traffic delay. Look, it's not an interesting story, however you try to spin it. The reporter gives you a practiced sort of skeptical look. Wouldn't you say that whether or not there was real trouble? No, Mr. Xanthopoulos, I would not. I'm telling you the truth, and now I need to get back to my paperwork. That's a lot of paperwork for a minor incident, he says. If you think anything else you want to let me know... If you think of anything else you want to let the public know, give me a call. He leaves his card on your desk before he goes. Technically, that paperwork, it's not all fucking for this morning. That's just paperwork in general. Look, I'm lazy sometimes, okay? You are finally at peace to look over your stack of paperwork. Ideally, to not only look at it, but to get some work done. Down the hallway, a shadow passes by the translucent frosting of your office window door thing. Yep, of your office door. That's likely Vanya going for a coffee break. They're sure to stay for hours yet, which means they'll be judging you if you don't stay for hours yet as well. But do you really want to stay that long? I'm just gonna stay and get the paperwork done. It's supposed to only take me a couple of hours, so that's fine. You grab a pen and start filling out forms. It doesn't really matter what order you tackle the papers in with this much to do. Simplest to start at the top and work your way down. Here's a noise complaint about harpies. Here's a zoning complaint from harpies. Here's a visa application from hell that never should have made it to your desk, but you might as well handle it now that it's here. And of course, there's everything to work on from what happened this morning. You feel a headache building as you work your way down. By the time you finish, it's late at night and the rest of the office is dead quiet. But for a vampire who only has arrived to start her overnight shift for Monday morning. Makes sense? Vampires, nighttime, they love it. You stagger out the office feeling as if you've been worked over by a troll. Paperwork can be worse than violence some days. I don't think that's technically true, but okay. Your home is a tidy little 2-bedroom house in a quiet residential neighbourhood, not terribly far from work. A mundane house for mundane species, as some of your distinctly inhuman co-workers put it. But you like it there. Besides, there are a few advantages to living in a neighbourhood mostly populated by humans. It's that much harder to take your work home with you, literally paperwork aside. You've never had once to mediate between your neighbours and anyone else, which is more than a few of your co-workers can say. Besides, you could hardly turn it down given how you acquired it in the first place. It was amazingly cheap because of the murders. Yeah, I'll just take that. Some people are very uncomfortable living in a house where a series of horrific murders have taken place. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how I feel about that. I like the idea of a really cheap house. But then I'm slightly skeptical and think, what if it's haunted? I don't know whether I fully believe in ghosts either, but do I want to push it? It's also just, it feels wrong. It feels bad, doesn't it? There's going to be like a bad energy around there. I don't know. Not you. The dead can't hurt you. Not after you had an exorcism performed anyway. And it's not as if that sort of thing is likely to happen twice in the same place. You got the house at half its market value and with all the carpeting ripped out already so that you could put the flooring you preferred. Makes sense. Get rid of all the blood. It was a pity about the murders, but that doesn't mean you were obliged to turn down a great price on a perfectly good house. It depends why they were murdered. If they were murdered because of who they were, like they were into some dodgy stuff, you're probably fine. If they were murdered just like it was a burglary gone wrong, it's unlikely to happen twice, like we said, but it's environment related, so it could happen again. You unlock the front door, your coat goes onto a hook, the flashlight clanking against the wall. It's been a long day, hasn't it? You feel like you've been worked over by your flashlight yourself. The crowds this morning, that troll with the moped, the paperwork at the office, Vanya being themselves, and that reporter Xantho something. You've had quieter Mondays than this Sunday, but you're finally home and you can greet your favourite thing in the house. My cat! 100% going cat. Love cats. Got a cat. Your cat comes sauntering up to greet you and rubs against your ankles, purring loudly. She's a fluffy old calico. You've had her as long as you've owned the house. My cat's kind of calico-y. That's cool. The cat was something of an inheritance from a great uncle retiring to a community that didn't allow pets. Fortunately, she wasn't as fickle as some cats, and declared you her new door opener and kibble provider within an hour of being delivered to your door. As cats aren't known for responding to names anyway, you gave her a new name when you got her. Right, well, we're gonna name the cat Gingerbread, because that's my cat's name. I can't spell gingerbread. There we go. Boom, nailed it. Gingerbread stretches to her full height, pressing her paws with claws politely retracted against your thigh. That was a good cat noise. I just made a good cat noise there. You scritch her between the ears and head to the kitchen where her food bowl is waiting. You would not believe the day I've had, you say, grabbing the bag of kibble. She replies, with immense feline dignity and all the sympathy you can expect from a hungry cat. The house is quiet around you, aside from a sound of Gingerbread working through her kibble. A dark shape flits past the window facing the backyard, one of the local vultures or a harpy on her way back to her flock. Neither option is worrying enough to convince you to leave the house again now that you're home on this unusually long Sunday. Tomorrow is another day, a Monday at that, with vampires and werewolves expected in the office first thing, but it'll be fine. You're at the best job of everyone in the office, and you'll get all this resolved in a jiffy, surely. End of chapter 2. This is taking a long time to record, so it's probably going to have to be in parts, but we're going to carry on.